they're hiding the fact that there was no evidence, including the sheath.
Ray is teaching a Homeland Security class
In the Bryan Kohberger, Idaho 4 case. Do we really know what the court is hiding in all of those documents? And in this episode, one more reason to question why Bethany and Dylan did not call 911.
You lost. And you know what you did.
This is About the Law. I'm attorney Andrew Myers, and joining me this week, as often recently, is California attorney Yolie Medina. Yolie, how are you?
Hello, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. I know that you've spent a lot of time going through all the documents, and we just spent some time before we hit the record button, and it's kind of confusing what is coming out and what isn't coming out. What are the big bombshells? Are there any big bombshells?
Well, there are, in terms of what has come out that is unsealed. There's still things that are sealed. And there's an order to now go for the other documents, the third set of documents. There's a request for, the parties to put in their objections to the third set. So it's making it very hard to follow, very, very hard to follow. A case shouldn't be this difficult to follow. But in any event, there were some things. For example, in the prosecution's witness list for the guilt phase, they have Amanda Kohberger. That's Brian Kohberger's sister.
Right.
So they have her in the guilt phase. And I know a lot of people believe that the reason why they had her was because of this 2014 incident where Brian Kohberger stole her phone and Brian Kohberger's father called the police on his son. But that was a misdemeanor. And now, based on the court's new order or new request to unseal documents, is a stipulation between the parties, between the defendant and the prosecution, not to admit into evidence that 2014 incident regarding the phone. So that was never going to come in. They stipulated to that back in February. And so that's the title of the document.
That is crazy, because a lot of, we both watch a lot of YouTube, and then we get back to each other at the end of the week and try and figure out what we saw. But yeah, a lot of people had made a big deal out of that, he stole his sister's phone. So that shows, the kind of person. Well, you and I both know the character type of evidence, rarely comes in, and only under certain rules. So what you're telling me is that's totally inadmissible in Idaho, right?
Well, yeah. And they stipulated to it. The parties stipulated not to talk about it. So it was never going to come in.
So, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of people talking about that is down the... Let's take a look at the documents in a minute. We got a really interesting letter here in About the Law from a woman who told a story that tells us, why there's really little or no excuse for Dylan and Bethany to have waited that whole 8 hours. That's one of the big things that still sticks in a lot of people's minds, that Dylan and Bethany, waited the 8 hours from when they first, heard things, saw the man with the bushy eyebrows, although that's a question now. And, the time that they got around to calling 911 after they had called Hunter. So this is from Redacted. We're protecting your identity. To us, good afternoon. I came across your YouTube page today. That's fantastic. Thank you. I'm just randomly reaching out to put my 2 cents in regarding Dylan and Bethany's delay of calling 911. At the age of 20-ish, 30-ish years ago, so she was 20-ish at this time, but it's 30 years ago, I experienced a break-in of my very small duplex while sleeping. This was my reaction. A noise woke me. I groggily tried to assess the situation from a prone position in my bed. I purposely, my entire life, have always left a light on when I go to bed at night. I had a desk in my room right next to my bedroom door. Something wakes me. I lay there seeing something by my door. I think, oh, it's Mandy, my dog. Wait, no, Mandy passed away. Oh, so it's the middle of the night and she's, groggy. Oh, it's the plant by my door. No, I got rid of that plant. Oh my gosh, there's a man crouched Chills go up my spine even now, going back to that moment. Due to the light in my living room, his outline is clearly visible. He is crouched down on one knee. He has spiky hair. In his right hand, he has something clenched in his fist. I screamed, "Get out of my house." With God's blessing, he left my house. I had a landline, so all right, 30 years ago, I guess many of us did. I called 911 immediately and went and got my neighbor. So she called 911 immediately and then went and got the neighbor. The police arrived quickly. I lived in a bad part of town. One went to try and find the guy. At the time, we had what was referred to as the Riverside Redacted. They caught a guy, stood him facing the headlights of the police car so he couldn't see me, but I could see him. Sadly, it was not the guy. The guy they found did not have spiky hair. So there I was, alone, yet I screamed, called police, all from a dead sleep. For your information, I have lived in Wichita, Kansas since we moved here from Florida in 1971. I also remember when BTK first started his M's. That's a tale for a different day. Okay, all right, we're going to try and get her on. I apologize for the lengthiness, but strongly feel that their response was odd, and they had each other. I was alone. Long story for the point that I, too, as a woman, feel something is off. Thank you for your time, and yes, keep digging for the truth. I so agree with you regarding the Idaho police being a tax on protection of the scene of Maddie, Xana, Kaylee, and Ethan's tragic loss of their lives. As a parent of 2 adult children myself, it is the nightmare of every parent to have their child's life lost prematurely, an unending nightmare for all family members. So that's her letter. We redacted her name, just out of respect. She said she would do an interview. We've just gone back and forth. Hopefully we'll get her. That was an interesting letter, don't you think?
Yeah. And, I've seen everything now with regards to the roommates, and I have questions. I mean, I'm not going to say people should harass them. They should not be harassed. And I always say that. Nobody should be harassed or, bullied or anything. But I do have questions, and I'm wondering what kind of situation they were in that caused them to delay like this. I mean, I understand the general situation, but what else was going on? Were they afraid of it just doesn't make sense. The story doesn't make sense.
It makes no sense at all. It makes little or no sense at all. Okay, so now we get into the documents.
The third order seeking parties' position regarding sealed documents. So this is the documents that the court is seeking the party's position on whether they want them sealed or unsealed. And it's a big, long list of documents. And everything, I believe, if you go down, it starts at from 331.25, and it goes.
Wow, look at that. Look at all those documents. Yeah.
And I know it goes from that March to February and probably even more so.
I counted, I think there's 71 documents here. It goes back to January 23rd. So this is the third list of documents that the court has put out for review.
It goes further, Andrew. Go down.
Yikes. You're right.
Yeah, it goes to
January 2nd.
Uh-huh. And it's document 136 that I wanted to show. This is document 136, which is the February 24, 25 stipulated agreement of the parties not to mention the 2014 cell phone incident during trial. So this is what I was talking about early in the episode, that there was a stipulation not to mention that. So I don't know why the prosecution was going to call Amanda Kohberger in their case in chief, but the one noteworthy thing is that they had Amanda Kohberger on their guilt phase witness list, but they didn't have Kohberger's parents, whom they said they were going to call, and they even had a hearing, a secret hearing, because they wanted to exclude Bryan Kohberger's parents from the court until they testified. And they had this sealed hearing where the prosecution was supposed to proffer or give some information to the court as to what they were going to ask the parents. And then the court determined that, no, it's okay, they can stay in the courtroom. Well, it turns out they were never on the prosecution's witness list. That doesn't mean they weren't going to ask them about it, or that doesn't mean that they didn't work out an agreement between the prosecution and the defense to say, hey, when you bring on the family members in your case, we can cross-examine them regarding what they want to cross-examine them. But this is what makes this case so hard to follow, because of these secret hearings. And it just drives me insane. This isn't how it's supposed to work.
No, I agree with you 100%. And this stipulation you're talking about, where they agreed not to talk about that incident where he stole the phone, this goes way back to February. And if I remember correctly, that hearing as to whether or not the parents should have been allowed to sit in for the trial, that was much later. Wasn't that May or June even?
Yes, it was much later. Yeah.
It was much. So it seems like a lot of time has been wasted in this case on deciding whether or not to seal things, deciding whether or not to redact things, deciding whether or not to throw people out. I mean, so much focus. And when this judge first came into the case and said that he wished he could say he was happy to be here, but why start with a mistruth? When he first came in, one of the things that he said was that, we're going to have more openness and don't automatically, think that everything should be sealed. But even more stuff was sealed after that, much more stuff. And the Associated Press, the reporter, the journalist for the Associated Press that's been doing it for decades, said she has never seen a case with more sealing and redactions and secrecy in her entire career. So, I had one observation before we move to the next document. I know sometimes documents are boring, and we're not one of those sites that just reads the documents word for word. But one of the things I found interesting in this document, that it goes all the way down to 179, and I think it's like another 71 or more documents. The last couple of chunks were like in chunks of about 30, 40 documents, and they had been listed, I believe, in the very beginning of August and the very good beginning of September, and within 30 days, the decisions were made to keep secret or not keep secret, or to keep secret. And I calculated based on that pace that they would not get through all the documents until the end of December 2027. End of December 2027. That was my calculation. This morning, when I saw all of this, I said, I've got to recalculate, but I couldn't do it. I was doing other things and working on just the documents that we have here. And I said, I've got to recalculate that. So if you want me to recalculate it, I will. I had said it was going to take till the end of December of 2027. If you want me to recalculate that, let me know down in the comments. And if 10 or more people let me know that they want that redone, I will do it. But I don't know. Yolie. It seems kind of...
It's so hard. It's so hard to follow this case, even trying to track the documents,
Yeah. So then, what did you want to look at next? The state's witness list?
Yeah.
Here it is. And I don't think there were any huge surprises in here. Were there? Or were there?
No, just the fact that they had Amanda Kohberger in their list and they didn't have the parents. That's pretty much it. But let's just skim through it a little bit and see. There's Mike Douglas.
Oh, I thought he was out of the TV business for a long time.
It's the FBI agent.
Oh, it is? Oh, okay. All right. Nick Balance.
Yeah. And
Amanda Kohberger, there she is, right there. There's Amanda.
There's also Kelly Quinn. Quinn Kelly. That is Dylan's boyfriend.
Oh.
Or whatever that.
What would
Dylan's
he say?
boyfriend had said he'd never been to Idaho, I believe, or something to that effect. Or he was not in Idaho on the night of the M's.
He never went to visit his girlfriend?
Something to that effect. Don't quote me, but something to that effect.
There's Bill Myers, no relative. Who's Bill Myers?
Well, there's another Myers.
There is? One of the court clerks is a Meyer.
No.
Do you know what I have to say about this? Who's Christian Westrig? Why did they highlight that? You told me that I didn't highlight that.
You didn't highlight. That was already highlighted. I have no idea.
You know what I say to this? You do trial law. I do trial law. People pad out their witnesses. There's no way that Bill Thompson and Ashley Jennings were going to call all these people. There's no way. There's no way in Hades that they were going to call all these witnesses. When you put out a witness list, you pad it out. You're kind of faking out the other people because, and not only are you faking out the other side, but they also, consume the other side's time, because if I'm on the other side of this case, or any good trial lawyers on the other side of this case, they say, oh my gosh, look at all these people. Now we know Dustin Blaker and, we know Amanda Kohberger, but I'm going to now have to either do myself or hire a company to vet all these people. Who are these people? What are they going to say? What's their criminal background? Because if they have a criminal background, that's something that's interesting to know. Have they ever been on the stand before and said a mistruth? So there's Molly McMichaels. We kind of know about her. But that's my impression, is that Bill Thompson and Ashley Jennings were faking the other side out. I don't know.
Yeah, and I guess you have to be over-inclusive in case you do have to call somebody. But there's Amanda Kohberger. Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's so much. It's just too much to call in a trial for what purpose? I mean, I don't understand. If they have a clear-cut case, it's going to be the roommates, the people who were there after the fact,
the
cops, and the experts. Including the lab technicians that did the DNA. And by the way, we still have not seen a photo of the knife sheath. I understand we're probably not going to see the photo of the knife sheath where it was found near Maddie's body, but I would assume they would have taken a picture of the knife sheath away from Maddie's body, for example, once they retrieved it and sealed it or whatever. I'm sure they would have taken a picture of it. We still haven't seen it.
That's pretty shady. Now, did you also want to see the defendant's witness list? Here's the defendant's witness list right here. Here is the defendant's mitigation witness list. It's not their list for all of their witnesses. It's their mitigation witness list.
And Amanda Kohberger is on their mitigation witness list. So she was going to testify, presumably, why the death penalty should not be imposed if he was convicted.
In a way, wouldn't it have made it more credible if they did mention the incident where even though he stole her phone, she still thinks that, he's an okay guy and they ought to give him a break? I mean, I don't know.
Well, I think that the stipulation not to admit into evidence the 2014 phone incident was for the guilt phase, but I'm not sure that it would apply for the mitigation phase. I don't know, because it's sealed and we only have the title of the document. We don't have the stipulation itself.
Who is number 11? Confidential informant.
Ooh. That's interesting. On the mitigation witness list?
Maybe it's a person whose initials are CE. I don't know.
It could be. It could be somebody who, it could be. It could be.
Who knows? And I'm looking for her name. I'm not seeing it. The teacher. There she is, Catherine Ramslin. Isn't that interesting that she was his professor at DeSales University was going to testify in the mitigation phase? Isn't that interesting?
It is. And Michelle Boulder from DeSales, document number 47, she was also going to testify.
Oh, really?
See, DeSales.
Now, I haven't read into it deeply enough. She was just another professor over there?
Yeah, I believe that she was also recommending Brian Kohberger for the program at Washington State.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's that. I don't know why I can't just jump from one document to the other. Okay, this is the amended order unsealing, redacting, and or maintaining the sealed status, and this also just came out in October.
And so just to give myself an orientation as to where this document is in the course of things. So the unsealing of the final tranche of records identified as in the order regarding sealed documents, August 4th. So the court has numbered the documents on his own. These are not numbered in the docket. Okay, so
Right.
it says number 5, 8, 11, 17, and 29. So you
Right.
have to look back at his order to find out what those documents are.
Right.
But it tells you right here, like number 5, 7/3/25, sheriff's return. Those are just witnesses that were served, and this is I don't know, it's something Floria.
Candy Floria. That's her
Yeah.
name. Candy Floria.
And there's two, I mean, it could be an ISP lab tech or it could be a friend. There's two people with that name. And then TAD. Okay, so that's Tim DeWolf.
Okay.
And then let me see. Okay, so the state's amended notice of compliance and motion to seal state's amended witness list. So that amended witness list was, we just went over that.
Right.
And then that's a sheriff's return for a person named Yessi Raho or Rojo.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It was kind of difficult because it's not document number 17. It's the sheriff's return, which has a different number, but you can look it up under the dates. But it's still, it takes time. It takes time to do all of that, and it's kind of confusing and time-consuming.
Confusing. It makes it so hard to follow.
Yeah, and so we actually looked at number 29, the witness list, the defendant's second amended phase 2. What does that even mean? I mean, to a normal, average, intelligent person who's been probably to graduate school, still, what does that mean? Witness list, defendant's second amended phase 2 mitigation. It's the mitigation witnesses. I know that, people. Comment down below what an idiot you think I am, but it's confusing.
It is confusing. And the mitigation witness list, those people testify after the defendant has been found guilty.
Right.
So what I wanted to say is the defendant's witness list for the guilt phase,
that
hasn't been unsealed yet.
That makes no sense. Well, because they're going backwards. That's why. That can only be the only reason I can think of that it would make any sense. I want to just take a look at one more document because we have to move along here. And so here is the 24th supplemental request for discovery, Exhibit W, under seal, and we weren't allowed to see this before, but this focuses in on Molly McMichael. The defense wanted a copy of all arrest reports, charging documents, and videos for Molly Marie McMichael from June 1st, 2022 through May 31st of 2025. They wanted a copy of all email communication between the Goncalves family, their attorney or representative, and the Latah County Prosecutor's Office relating to Molly McMichael, and they weren't going to give them that. Copy of all email communications from the Latah County Prosecutor's Office and law enforcement and other agents relating to Molly McMichael. Any updated supplemental reports and or recordings of interviews conducted by law enforcement with Molly McMichael. So the point of this is, while we were all sitting there thinking, what is going on here? Why won't they let us see any of the discovery? Bear in mind, this is just the questions. This is just the requests that Ann Taylor was making. And people were saying, well, why is she making 24 supplemental requests? This is why she's making 21, 22, 23, 24 different requests for information. And, that's it. That's why. And we weren't allowed to see this before. So
weird.
So I don't know about you, but I think I've seen enough of the documents, and I just as soon scuttle along to more important things like our viewers' comments. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
I think they're more interesting anyhow. So do you want to take the odds or the evens this week?
I'll take the odds.
Okay.
And this is from Hippler 420. Okay. And all this redaction and sealing, I can see why the defense took a plea deal. His attorneys had no choice. They was going to block anything that would make the state and university look bad.
I don't know if I agree with that one. I mean, this is a sentiment that's out there. I've seen this and heard this elsewhere in a number of comments, but I can't think that any attorney that really has their heart in their work would please somebody out just because it's frustrating, as we've pointed out in this episode. Can you see that?
No, but I can see that if it starts with blocking things, and sealing things, and then it also, that trickles down to the secrecy and letting certain things leak about the defendant, before trial, and only showing bits and pieces of what the law enforcement wants people to see, that being unfair. So I mean, I don't agree that the sealing itself, the redaction and sealing, is why he would plead guilty or why his attorney would tell him to plead guilty. But I see possibly the unfairness of it. You know, I mean, that Dateline episode right before jury selection or before the trial started, I mean, it's crazy. Books coming out and.
Yeah. Number 4, Pumpkin Field. How timely. Is there some force, some other power that can intervene in this circus and make this case transparent? It seems that the judge and prosecutor decided that they can do whatever they want. This case is nothing but justice. I think, disagree with you with me if you want, because we didn't discuss this. I think the answer is no, because under our system of federalism and, separation of powers and all that good stuff, the states are, sovereign, independent bodies, and each state has its own laws. And I would think no, absent something really egregious, I don't think, the federal government has any right to step in.
Right. And like Idaho has these codes that, where they can seal information under certain circumstances. So they've been using the Idaho code, and I forget what the code section is, but it's a code section. It's one of Idaho's laws, and that's what they use to seal things. And then Idaho also has this privacy exception to the public records code, which allows, things to be sealed based on privacy. And that we saw that with the photographs of the victims and whatnot. The victims' families filed a restraining order. So Idaho does have peculiar laws, but there is a special investigation allegedly into the leaks by allegedly law enforcement. So we'll see if we ever get to hear about that.
Well, that's been since June, hasn't it? I'm going to say that's around June, wasn't it? And we've heard nothing. We've heard nothing about that. We've heard crickets.
Now, in terms of the leak regarding the prison video, apparently they've determined who that was. This was reported by Kevin Fixler. They determined who that was, but that person resigned before their investigation concluded. And so it's personnel records, so they cannot disclose who the person is, and there will be no criminal charges for that. So
Interesting. Isn't that a violation of somebody's privacy?
it is.
And
I guess Brian Kohberger would have something against him, but I don't know. It's all, but we haven't heard anything official. This was reported by Kevin Fixler, so we haven't heard anything official coming out from the Department of Corrections.
So I guess they're figuring that whoever did it, they identified him, and his having had to have resigned, that's the punishment. Your turn.
Okay, this is, oh gosh. Eoquidsfjera. Anyway, sorry, I can't pronounce that. Okay, lock with lost key. Still no investigation results on the leaks. I'm not holding my breath. If it ever does come out, who could trust it? Nobody.
We just talked about that a minute ago.
Yeah.
We just talked about that a minute ago. Number 2, RVing, keep it rolling. Oh, RVing it, recreational Ving. I should pre-read these, shouldn't I? Recreational vehicling, keep it rolling. Okay, now I get it. I'd like to know why they aren't going to release all of them and why they're heavily redacted. They can take 2 years to go through them, and they have plenty of time, yet Ann Taylor couldn't get extra time to defend her client, and it was a death penalty case. They're hiding the fact that there was no evidence, including the sheath set up. They're protecting the university and friends. I hope the truth comes out. Boy, I certainly agree with the first couple of lines here. Mm-hmm. I think we'd all, and we mentioned this earlier in the episode, I think we'd all like to know why they aren't going to release all of them and why they're heavily redacted. Now, I can understand, not doxing people with respect to personal identifying information. If dates of birth and social security numbers are in there, fine. Should have been in there to begin with.
Right.
If there's minors in there, that should have been in there to begin with. But I agree. They just spent so much time. They spent more time making everything secret than they did on the substantive matters in this case, in my opinion. And so now, it's like, writing a term paper. If you make a million mistakes, it's going to take you a long time to correct the term paper. That's what happened here. They just spent all their time, with the whiteout covering everything up. And now they're with a razor blade trying to uncover it all. And it's taken them forever. And like I said before, I calculated on the previous rate it was going to take them until the end of December of 2027 to get to the bottom of all of the documents. If you really want me to recalculate it, I'll get out my calculator and do it over again. But I need 10 people to tell me down below to do it. Otherwise, I don't like math.
Okay, this is from Maria Susana Fortes. It comes to my mind, Cy Ray's statement.
Yeah, he said somebody wasn't telling the truth. And remember, the judge blew a cork on that one. He really blew a gasket on that. But Cy Ray said that somebody wasn't telling the truth on the timing data and whether they had it or not. He felt that it was clear that they had it. You can't get it now and go back and get it. But I haven't seen much from Cy Ray. Have you? I think he's been really quiet. Has he talked to anybody?
Well, he's doing a Homeland Security course.
Oh, that's right. Yolie, what is this?
Well, apparently this is, Cy Ray is teaching a Homeland Security class at this Homeland Security Training Institute, which is a part of a university. And here it is, Homeland Security Training, Preventing the Plea, Mastering Complex Criminal Investigations. And it was organized by the Homeland Security Training Institute. And if you scroll down, it's a 6-hour training. And the topics of this course include expanding the role of investigative genetic genealogy, technical and legal hurdles in managing vast digital evidence sets, privacy concerns related to IgG, recognizing investigative challenges related to complex case designations, and social media in complex cases. And the instructor you see is Cy Ray.
Interesting.
Yeah, and if you go down, he talks about under Cy Ray, he talks about his experience, and he talks about his recent cases. And it's Fabio Cementilli, and he, I believe he pled guilty or was found guilty for M. And Brian Kohberger's there, who pled guilty.
Look at that. So he's actually teaching a class on this subject material, and he's going to be talking about the Brian Kohberger case.
Interesting.
Wow.
I want to know what type of, how he's going to use the Brian Kohberger case. Is it regarding the IgG? Is it to help it sounds like it's to help law enforcement.
Yeah.
Totally. So I don't know. It's just very interesting that he's doing this class. I wish I could attend, but it's for law enforcement only.
You know what else I find interesting is this right here, navigating the impact of social media sleuths on high-profile cases. I find that interesting because we generally just look at documents and we give legal analysis. That's generally our niche, but everybody has their own niche, and there are people out there that actually have done some sleuthing, and they go out there and they talk to people and take photographs. And so I guess that's what they're talking about, because in the old days, investigators and law enforcement could pretty much work on their own, but now they've got competition in social media. So I wonder if that's what he's talking about.
Possibly, yes. And about misinformation or information that's incorrect, who watches social media regarding true crime and all those things, how social media may have prejudiced Brian Kohberger's case. Who knows?
And this is being taught at the Homeland Security Training Institute. I guess we shouldn't dox them, but it's in Illinois. So that's interesting. I wonder if I could take that class. Every year I have to get 12 hours worth of continuing legal education in order to recertify myself every year. If I don't certify to the state that I've done, 12 hours of continuing legal education, I can't even, renew my license. So do you have that in California?
Yes. So
you-
I'm wondering if I could use this class as a continuing education credit, but it sounds like it's for law enforcement, but we're lawyers, so maybe.
How many hours do you have to take every year?
Oh God, I don't remember. I don't remember. I just know when the time comes, I enroll for the courses, and they're usually audio courses.
That's well, I do the video courses, but that's what we all do. We wait at the last minute. The deadline is the end of June, so nobody does anything all year. Then in May, all of a sudden, we go, "Oh no,
Yeah. Sometimes I'll go to an in-person or video one if it's somebody that I know that is doing a course, and I want to.
Okay, we're running out of time. We have an appointment with someone to do an interesting, what I think is an interesting episode on Sheriff Steins. So, Yolie, any final thoughts?
This is just all very frustrating regarding how the court is handling the documents. I don't know that there's any other way for the court to handle them other than just to release everything, but it's very frustrating to follow this case.
Yes, I agree 100%. I mean, I was tearing my hair out this morning trying to go through them all week. I kind of keep an eye on things, but then this morning just to get through them all. Leave us any emoji this week. We don't have enough time to procrastinate over the emoji. Yolie, thank you. It is good to work with you again. And remember, always be nice. Down in the comment section, don't call other people names. Start your own thread. Tell us why you feel the way you do. And remember, always, no matter where you are, be nice.
Whether you are in the grocery store, the gas station, or anywhere else, please remember to be kind to people. You don't know what they're going through. And the same goes for our comment section. We want you to comment, but be nice, be kind, be positive if you can. And thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Have a good one.
You pay for a subscription?
I do not.
Ask it differently. I'm going to allow that.
Well, you know now because you follow. You pay for a subscription?
I do not.
Did you get one for free?
Yes. I was not paying to any social media.
All right, Mr. Brennan.
Sorry, I have just a few more questions.
It's denied.
I was not paying to any social media.
Okay.